Good morning all. Good afternoon. I have got someone with me today. I did want Shalini to come up on stage so she could present with me, but Shalini is very shy. If you want to stand up, Shalini. Shalini does look after the AP automation in TechOne for us. So at the end of this, we're going to hang around for half an hour and Shalini and myself will answer any questions that you might have personally with us about it. I did get asked to talk about AP automation. It's an old technology. It's been around probably since mid-2000s. Not every council has used it, but there is a new technology with AI coming through. So I'm going to spend half the time on our AP solution because there was an interest, but then I'm going to take you through an AI pilot project I'm actually running at the moment, which I think will trigger more minds. I know I'm speaking to a finance team. It's all about saving money, the AI, so I think you'll be on board. Risk, I'm a bit of a worry with the finance group, but we'll try and get there. So I'll start the presentation. You all know where South Perth is. I'm not going to go through. We're a small council and we've got a small team and we're trying to do what the big councils are doing, and it's not as easy with less money and less people. Bit of a background. 2017, I came from Swan back to South Perth, and the first thing we looked at was we had just had systems everywhere doing everything, and as you can see up there, really none of them were integrated. So we were spending our time actually integrating products and making them work together instead of actually getting more value from the improvement of the systems. So we decided to go for a new strategy. There's all our issues. If you look at the second bottom one, it's probably the most interesting one. All our AP processes were manual in 2017. We would stamp an invoice, send it around to whoever was on the PO, they would sign it, put the GL code, send it back, and then we would pay it. It's only 8 years ago, so I'm not sure how many local governments are still on that, but that was probably the big trigger. Is we had so many manual processes we had to move in. We were doing annual leave, sick leave, all on paper. So we did a big change from that perspective. Everything from above looked perfect. Everything underneath was going crazy. So yeah, I actually do love that picture. It's a good one. We came up with some guiding principles. We decided we're not going to be a development house as an organisation. We're going to utilise what's out there. We don't want programmers. We don't want developers. We also don't want to lead too early, but we don't want to follow too late. The big one is in red, reuse before we buy. I'm safe with finance because they've always got a corporate system, but most of the business want a specific system for their own needs. They don't look at it from an organisation perspective. So we end up, if we have a strategy of ERP, we don't really want to be buying new products and trying to integrate them. So this reuse before buy and buy before build is our policy. So if anybody wants something, it has to be proven that the requirements aren't matched by the TechOne system. So, and the rest is pretty easy. Cloud first. COVID told us we had to do that, and trying to work anywhere, anytime, anyhow. So there are guiding principles. The automation project, a lot of points, so I'm not going to read through every one of them. The one in red is the big one. We made a decision very early that receipts of goods were approval for payment. So if everything matched, we didn't have to go and get any more signatures on. So that was our philosophy. So when we built the TechOne system, we built it around that, the receipts being the key approval process. In the old days, it would go through 5 signatures, to make sure it got to the right place, but we've moved away. That's just talking a bit about where we were, where we're at, the process. 2019, we commenced the project. We went live with TechOne, and in 2020, I remember walking past Shalini's desk, and Shalini's been there. She was there well before I started. 2016, 2014, 2009. And Shalini's a happy person, and I walked past after we put TechOne in. Every time I walked past, she looked miserable, upset, frustrated, ready to smash me. And I just had a chat and said, what's the problem? She goes, it is so complicated. The whole process is complicated. So then I approached her manager and said, look, there's so much automation out there, why don't we have a look at it? And that's where we kicked off the AP automation. And Shalini's back smiling. I did ask her when I accepted this presentation, I said, Shalini, if I took that away, what were you to do? And she said she would leave. So that gives you a fair idea, one person doing the whole work and how much time it saved her. And we went live in 2020, which is a key date to remember for later on in this project. And everything went smoothly. Even Shalini said it was quite an easy process for her. It wasn't a lot of configuration, wasn't a lot of build. I've got to stop turning around there when I'm talking. The Easy Scan process, as you can see there, for the people at the back, if you come closer, you might be able to read it. Basically, you can send an invoice, a hard copy, or you can get a, what's the other one there? Or digital invoice, put it into the system and it will recognise it, take it through the Easy Scan process, and eventually put into TechOne with very little work. So the process is simple. If you look at the top half, when you get in the middle, the invoice requiring human intervention, we are still doing that way. We actually haven't progressed to having invoices approved by the system, and I gather that's the risk component of finance management. Like I say, they're a bit more risk averse, so we just haven't got the confidence that we can do it without someone having a human eye looking over it. But the system works. And I want to really progress down to that bottom level with this. There's a bit about the project again. It's the same screen, so I went down, sorry. There's 3 screens that Shalini's got to work with, and you're not going to be able to see them. But she chooses how it's coming in, if she wants to do it in bulk, then goes to another screen that pushes it into the Easy Scan system, and then the Easy Scan system, which is the bottom one. Each of them fields there has to be manually checked that it's been picked up correctly from the invoice, and at the end of it she submits it and it dumps it into TechOne. I'd like to see more of that automated, in the sense that take out that part Shalini has to do and have confidence that it's picking it up, but we'll get to that a bit later. And the bottom line there is 5 years, we put this thing in place, we actually haven't reviewed it. No one in finance has sat down and said, okay, what can we now do with this system? The Easy Scan system has changed so dramatically, has new opportunities, new products in it. If we put something in place and don't change it, we eventually get to the stage where we think it's rubbish. So, yeah, I'm a bit upset that we haven't gone any further, but I can't drive everything as an IT manager. The business has to drive that. So if you are going to go down a technology path, just remember you just don't do it and ignore it for the rest of its life. The benefits and lessons learned, it's not expensive. 26 grand and nearly 3,000 a year. It's pretty simple or cheap price for what you do. Benefits, again, it's hard to get a figure on processing time because Shalini's memory's going a bit, so she can't remember what it was like in 2019 fully. But we believe it's about 70% productivity improvement. It's forced our vendors to do things professionally. Prior to 2019, people were sending invoices on paper with no ABNs, and we were accepting it. So we've actually now forced them to do it. If we don't like what's on the invoice, we send it back to them and say, put the information on correctly and then we'll pay you. Shalini said there's less errors, definitely. Vendors get paid weekly. We do a weekly pay right now for vendors. We don't do a monthly one. We try and pay all of our suppliers on a weekly basis. And it's reduced the risk of what we do with bank accounts. Not that we pay too many to the wrong person, because there's none in my bank account, but there was places where we put into old bank accounts for different suppliers. So lessons learned, don't implement without reviewing, and meet your account manager quite regularly. We've got to keep doing continuous improvement, and I think that's the key to everything, no matter the TechOne system, the add-ons or the things behind it, just keep doing it. So that was AP automation on a very quick. I'll ask you if there's any questions at the end instead of splitting it two. But I want to take you on to where I think the technology is moving and where local government, or actually any business, is going to get the greatest return on investment. AI is coming. I can't tell you when it's going to arrive in mass into our business. But anyone who's nearly as old as me, we didn't have email in 1994, we didn't have internet in 96. Yeah, things come very quickly. Yeah, petrol cars, electric cars, things change. There is going to be a huge change on processing inside systems and inside business through AI. We've got to get a head around it. We've got to understand that it's coming and it's going to come quick, and we have to be ready and be able to move quickly. I had a company approach me, and I can't remember why they approached me. Velocio, CEO of the company, Velocio. They approached me and said, look, we've got this AI idea. What do you think? And we sat down, we had a coffee, and I said, your idea is great, but it's such a small thing, it's not going to really save us anything. So I gave them 2 or 3 ideas, and they came back and said, oh, we believe we can do one of them quite easily. And what we're doing, what we've piloted at the moment, is we get requests come in as emails into our inquiries mailbox. And someone sits there, takes that email and types that information into our request management system, and then the system will process that. So I said, if you can automate that process of taking that email data and putting it into the system and no one does anything, then we're miles ahead. You know, probably one resource a day out of our contact centre is spent on doing these emails and transcribing them. So they went away and they came back and said, we can do it. So I thought, okay, let's have a look. So is anything interesting on that page? Probably not. Probably the key thing there is that we've also got the agent in the AI talking back or emailing back to the customer for data that's missing in the email. So if it says, it goes into the knowledge base, that it's learned about every request type we have and said, oh, you haven't got a location or you haven't got something, and it will talk back to them until it's satisfied that it's got all the data before it populates the request system. So it's more than just transcribing. No, we've actually gone to the next level of going back with an email and just keep corresponding back and forth. On the right side, my left, you can see that all these little dots or squares are actually what we call agents. An agent does a process in the AI world and it hands it on to the next one and it makes decisions where it moves. So as you can see, there's probably 15, 20 agents just in that CRM process. So it's not a ChatGPT where you ask a question, get an answer. It's actually an agent doing a process and saying, I'm happy, I'll pass it on. I'm not happy, I'll get more information. So it's quite a smart technology. Probably explains it again. So if you look on the left, that's ChatGPT. You put something in and it answers and gives you something. With agentic workflow or agent workflow, each agent does something. So. And that is the workflow for our AI, for our smart contact centre. So it jumps out, goes back, goes left, right, and eventually it gets into our system when it's committed. So it's a fair bit of work setting it up, but like I say, it learns itself. So you've got the machine learning, which is the AI component. The outcomes, we've proved that the technology works. We've sat there and ran it across and it works. We categorise 90% of the emails. So that, 3% that we have to do manually. We believe there's about a 99% reduction. There'll always be something you'll have to do manually, but we go past that step. It's scalable. Once you build the agents, you can put whatever you want across it. And now we're going to the next step of now proving that the whole thing works for every type of request that we have in our system. We've got about 150 request types. So we did the pilot with 6, now we spend the next 3 weeks doing that on 150 workflows. I'll give you a demonstration. Hopefully you can see it and hear it, and hopefully the technology works. Our AI consultant is going to talk you through and show you the actual process going from the email coming in to it end up in Tech One. So it's, let's see if it works. Going pretty well so far.
This is a quick demonstration of the City of South Perth's customer service automation solution. If we go to an email and we emulate sending an email from a member of the public to the City of South Perth, in this case it's a Verge query, talking about acceptable methods to deter others from parking on a Verge. This is representative of a email that came from somebody in the council. There's an address given, they're talking about their neighbours, they ask a few other queries. So if I was to send this through, what we're looking to do is to be able to correctly categorize this email into the correct request category, to extract the information that is required for that category within Tech One, and then to populate the Tech One system. So if I send that, then if I jump into the system, and if I was to test this, what we're expecting to see is that email to make its way down a specific path of this workflow. You can see it's there, and it's going down. So this is a categorization agent over here, and it is now categorizing it into the correct category. In this case, it's a road or traffic complaint. And we can see that it's gone down, it's picked up all the information. If it was missing information, it would send an email back to the customer. And then it's writing the file, it's downloading the file, it's uploading that, it's extracting all the information and posting it to the City of South Perth. So if I go into the City of South Perth's request management system, we can see over here that now there's a file over here. This is in a specific format. This is at this stage in a smart folder, which will now be processed into the Tech One system. What we can also see, if we go into the city's customer support inbox, we can see over here that there's an email that's been sent and it's extracted all that information. So here it says there's been a road traffic query or complaint, the name, the email, what property it was, that's related to parking. There's a summary given. Jason's concerned about contractors parking on his Verge, which is deteriorating as a result. It then also gives the full email content. So it gives everything, and as you can see, it's extracted all the relevant and pertinent information. If we go back into the request system and we refresh that, you can see that's disappeared now, and it says process complete. And now if we go into the actual request management system, and we go right up to the top, we can see this new request is coming over here from Jason. Just give me 1 second. So it comes in from here. It's a road or traffic complaint. It's a new request. Jason's concerned. So that's come into the request system within Tech One.
Pretty good stuff. And no human really has to get too involved in that. And I just want to talk about one thing. As AI and technology changes, we've got two responsibilities. We've got to work out how we take advantage of the technology, but we've also got to remember we've got people working for us. Now, every time I talk about this, there's people in our organisation that are going to think their job's gone. We've really got to work out how we manage the change and work out what are we going to do, what are the new tasks, the new jobs that these people are going to do. There hasn't been a technology change in my lifetime, which is a long time, that has seen reduction in mass numbers inside business. Yeah, internet came in, email came in, Teams came in, there's so many different technologies that haven't changed. But we've got a responsibility to manage people's anxiety. We don't all have the ability to think this is great, I can do this and I can do that. Some people will just harbour on it and turn their anxiety and you'll see a downturn in what's happening inside your business. So we've really got to be careful of how we market and how we communicate this to our business. yeah, we should not be saying it's a cost save. It's a people saving exercise. Yeah, cost reducing time, but we should be enhancing on what you can be doing instead of this, where we can take advantage of that. So, as I said before, where are we going next with this? 135 request types. I want to make sure that it picks up the whole 135. We've got 6 up there at the moment. They were the biggest 6, so they were our waste, our bins. You know, everyone knows what your top 6 request types are. But I want to make sure that works. I want to make sure that the AI learning model can automatically pick up any modifications to a request type. I don't want to be having an administrative tool behind it that someone's got to go and manage. Oh, there's a new request type. We've got to add that in. I want the AI to do that as well. I want it to handle new requests, and I want it to demonstrate that we can actually have a live communication between our customers and us. We've done it internally, and I know it works, but I want to see how our customers react when I send them an email from a tool saying, like, can you give us this information, what will happen? This is probably the exciting part. I picked a request because I knew it was a problem. Now we've actually been playing, and while we were playing, we actually tried the same technology with someone making a phone call to the organisation and actually picking up that request, turning that into a request into the system. So we've got email working and we've got voice. Now, the voice we put in gave us all the data we wanted. We didn't try the AI tool to talk back to the person so that they could ask further questions. But I want the AI tool to sit there, understand what it needs from the back end, and actually talk back to that person when they're having a voice conversation. So that if they come up and say, look, I've got a missed bin or a damaged bin, if there's a bit of data missing, have the AI tool actually talk back to them. If I can get that, then I think we've got a pretty good winning solution here. And the next part I would love to do is have the AI tool smart enough to pick up the person who is talking to them and actually talk back in their language or their accent. So if they're a Cockney or a Liverpoolian, are they the same things? No, Cockneys do. They will talk that same accent or language back. That would make more people feel comfortable with who they're talking to, or when they're talking to an AI tool, than a language that sounds like half American, mixed in with something else. So there's a fair way to go, but I think it's an interesting opportunity. The great opportunity I see now is every local government, maybe not all the smaller councils, but from 5 p.m. till 8 a.m. in the morning, we pass our phones over to we outsource our phone system or our request system to a contact centre. We pay them to actually collect phone calls and make decisions and decide if they call someone or if they just email us with the problem. I think this technology can replace that type of business. So that's a huge saving to local government. I don't have to worry about the contact centre. External people, they're just a business. They're not my people. But it would be nice if someone rings up and says, there's a dog attacking someone down there. The AI tool can say, look through our knowledge base, do all the machine learning and say, okay, that's not an email that goes on Monday to the council. I'm going to call my contact number for the Rangers or for the police. So I think this is probably where I'd like to take it next at South Perth and try that. And anyone who's put online applications in for building, planning and health, I'm probably talking to the wrong group from a finance perspective, but them forms are very, very difficult to fill in. People fill them in, we get them, and then we say, oh, that's the wrong form. We say, can you fill this form in? They do it again, and then we say, go back to them and say, oh, you've missed this, you've missed that. It'd be nice if an AI tool could actually talk to these people while they were filling the form in so they could ask questions. So I think there's another opportunity in that space as well. And I'm really early. I'm 15 minutes early. So that's plenty of time for questions. So does anybody want to know anything more?
So ladies and gentlemen, don't forget the QR code, and if you want to just send it through, or if you have a direct question for Jeff, that was... the AI component is amazing. I might take the microphone down here. How about this? Need a bit of exercise? Here you go, sir.
Sorry for being so quick. I talk fast and I'm not very good at planning, so I did this last night and I didn't time it. It's not me to be there, so I do apologise I'm early, but I think there's a lot of data and I've got a question.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. Rajesh from City of Kalamanda. In terms of EasyScan, were there any issues with creating templates? Is one of my questions. The other one was, how do you do the change management with suppliers? Letting them? Did you create a email portal separate for them to load up their invoices, or was it just a standard practice of sending it to accounts at South Perth?
I'm looking at you, Shalini. Change management. I don't think we spent a lot of time other than informing them through an email. I don't think we brought them into the organisation, but we did converse with them through email, tell them the changes, but we promoted that we would pay them weekly instead of monthly if they adhered, and people want money as soon as possible. So if you can have a great driver that affects them, it makes your life a lot easier. We don't get a lot of complaints 5 years later. I'm not sure, did we have many at the time? Most people got on board. Probably the ones that didn't get on board were probably the ones that loved cash transactions.
Does that answer it for you, sir?
Just the other one, whether there was any templating issues with EasyScan, so like invoices from one supplier to another supplier could be very different, and then how does it extract the metadata?
And that's where I'm probably, at the start, I probably didn't hit it correctly. The automation tool is not a knowledge learning exercise. It's all it does is try and pick up on every invoice, no matter what it is, what should look like a purchase order, what should look like a dollar amount. So there's no smarts behind it. That's where I think these companies, if they don't start putting AI and machine learning behind it, you're right, in my opinion, is we should get an invoice when we get a new vendor, and it should learn that invoice and know exactly what to pick up, and then you'd have more confidence that it's picking up the right things at the end. But no, there's no template. Not to say that it can't do. I hadn't got into it myself to understand the full potential of the system. We did in 2015 make a decision that we would go the easy solution to make it, get it working, thinking that we do continuous improvement. So it could be there, it might not be, but we just do it all as a blanket. It tries to pick up the data from the invoice on that page somewhere. And that's why Shalini actually checks it in that, I think it was the third screen. Yeah, I'm waving my arms, which I do. Yeah, oops, sorry, I've lost my screen.
Just see if we can get the screen back up for you.
So the bottom screen, every one of them fields, Shalini clicks on them and it populates each of them fields, and then Shalini checks that on the screen next to her to make sure he's picked up the right thing. I reckon 60% of the time it gets the right thing, 70%, 80% of the time it picks up the right thing. Sometimes it picks up RABN instead of theirs. Sometimes it picks up the wrong value, but Shalini clicks through each one of them steps and validates it, and if there's a change, she copies it across. So it's populated all, but she does have to do the fixes. And that's where I say it's still a manual process, but she doesn't have to do all that pre-work of getting it in. So it probably explains why there's no template, but I believe templates would be a better way and have machine learning where they are so that we get 100%.
Probably just another follow-up question, more from, I think, Shalini than you. How do you deal with standing orders? Because let's say, for example, air conditioning maintenance. The maintenance department gives a supplier a $100,000 purchase order, but then doesn't specify the actual building that they have to go to. They have a list of buildings they have to go to, but when the invoice comes in, that's got the specific buildings that they've serviced. Then how do you then go in and charge to those specific job codes?
So that's been done by the business unit when they goods receipted. So that doesn't come into play when it's an easy scan. Easy scan just picks up the PO number and the total amount of the invoice, and then it goes to the business unit to goods receipted in whatever manner they want. So, yeah.
That's good, Shlingy. Keep that microphone. I think we might need you. There's another question here at the back, Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff, for the presentation, and one of the better live video demos that I've seen, so that was really good to see. A couple of questions, one on EasyScan, and sorry if you've answered this and I've missed it, but you talked about some processes not being implemented or adopted as well as what you'd like. I guess a bit of, and taking 5 years and it not moving. Can you give a bit of what's led to that? And then on the AI front and the project on the CRM, is the AI an in-house built AI that works with the CRM, or is it an add-on to the TechOne CRM?
Okay, I'll go to the first question. Being an IS manager, I can't be across every part of our business. And while we're doing all these other jobs, there's also this TechOne implementation. So if the manager of that part or that business unit doesn't do his work, or their work, then it's very hard for me to know what projects we've got to go. I just can't be pushing everyone in the organisation. So that's why I did emphasise earlier that if we put something in place, whoever's the owner of that product has to make sure that they are thinking continuous improvement. They should be looking at it and saying, look, let's go up to the next version. Let's try this. Yeah. This, not doing this bottom one, to me, is criminal after 5 years. We've proven the technology works. We know it works for 80% automatically. Why don't we let them 80% go through and just isolate the 20%? But I can't make them decisions. And to be honest, I don't really want the work. But if the drive's there and it's prioritised by the business, then we can actually move forward. So that's probably the answer why we sat there. It hasn't been a high priority for that manager of that business unit. And not to say it won't be. He's been trying to get rates in, source in, contracts. So yeah, there's lots of other things that have been impacting his life, and he's trying to still do capital budget, works budgets, and everything else. So I'm not trying to put a blame on him, but don't put something in unless you're going to evaluate it every now and again. Second question, I did forget because...
It was in terms of the AI linking to the CRM, is that an in-house built AI capability, or is it an add-on to the TechOne solution?
It's not an add-on to the TechOne, it's a private company working with me. TechOne, I'll put every dollar on that I've got that TechOne are looking at AI. But if I wait for TechOne to do it, it'll be 4 or 5 years, and it'll be another 100, 200, 300,000. So I'm just trying to work with an AI company, and what I'm trying to do is get something that we can package, a bit like the EasyScan solution. They can package and just go and implement it 30, 50, 100 councils. So there's a great business model for them, but I'm trying to pick things that I think will make all of our lives easier. And if they can package that and get that right, they'll make a lot of money, and I think local government will save a lot of money. There's hundreds of these upstart companies out there. They just approached me, and I thought they'd seem nice people, and they worked very quickly. I mean, TechOne would not give me this amount of time and deliver something this quickly, and neither would Civica, Authority, Synergy. They're too big. They've got 1,000 customers that they've got to think about. So, cover that one.
Answer it for you, sir. Yeah. Could we go back to the questions on the screen from the QR code, my friend? Yeah, we'll just, while he's doing that, you mentioned the anxiety created by AI.
Yeah.
Can you expand on that a bit more in terms of what can be done for the staff to reassure them that the whole world's not going to change within a couple of years? Well, it probably will, but you know what I mean?
Or if I had the answer to that barrier, I think I'd be on the stage.
Yeah.
I don't have the answer, and I think we've got to do it with a care factor. I think we've got to get professional people to help us and understand how people work. Probably 20% of the world live with anxiety. A lot of local government, we've got low-end pay scales. Then people live pay to pay, so they are going to worry. So I think Yeah, I don't have the answer, but I think we've got to consider it. Yeah,
Needs to be addressed. Okay.
it's got to be addressed. Yeah, bring the experts, get the people in performance, your HR teams involved, get change managers. Yeah.
It's going to
just
be a
on
profound change, though, isn't it? There,
Yeah,
you can
it
just
is.
sense that it's coming everywhere. In my media, everywhere. It's just.
Yeah. I mean, if you watch an advert on TV, I reckon 80% of adverts now are AI generated. They don't get actors and actresses in anymore and pay them millions of dollars. You know, they get someone to generate an AI advert. It's out there. So
I reckon sports presenters will be AI one day as well.
I don't think they've worked out personality yet. So the
That's
AI.
right.
So I think you're safe for a couple of years, Barry.
Broken noses. From the AP automation to work efficiently, it needs the officers to process the goods receipts before the invoice arrives. Has South Perth had success with this?
Yes, we've had success. There are some bad people that don't do it on time, and I'm one of them. I get caught up. What we've said is as soon as the goods have been completed or received, or the service is completed or the goods received, the manager should do it. What percentage are doing it, Shalini?
I think about 85-90% do it on time. Yeah.
Just me.
Yeah, just
Just me. There's got to be someone worse than me in the organisation. But yeah, we put a lot of emphasis in our change management on that process, and so people do do it. They're just some people aren't good at it. But I'm not good at any admin work, so don't judge me.
Was there another question on that before this one that we were looking at earlier? Is that? I'll just see, and if there's a show of hands for anyone who. Thank you, madam. I'll come on over. Here we go, Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff. I just quick question about how you approached your change management through this process.
On the AP automation or the AI stuff? Or on the whole ERP?
The AP, more specifically.
I think I did answer it in the sense, I think we just emailed our vendors and let them know the change. Internally, we had a change manager working full-time on our ERP implementations. As we were doing things, they would meet with everyone internally. And if you think about AP, 60% of what we do is in our infrastructure team. They probably raise the greatest amount of orders. So we had our change manager work with them. They were doing pre-start meetings, presentations, taking them through the whole process of what the benefits were to them for doing it. Because if they do the goods receipt, then there's nothing else they've got to do. The invoice will come in and it'll automatically pay. If they don't do that, they're going to get notifications. And if you have an invoice sitting there waiting for a goods receipt, after, is it a week or a couple of days, it goes up to the director or the manager and then they start getting into it. So the change management worked pretty well to get 85%. I didn't realise I was in the 15, but change management in any implementation of any system is really important. It's harder to do with the community. Yeah, that's all we've really got is email, a website. We can bring them in, and we did this for the development applications for not development, but for our builders. We brought them in and did a presentation for all the major builders, but we can't get to every mum and dad who puts a building application in. So you've got to pick your masses, and then we offer anyone who wants to build, a normal mum and dad walks in, we'll ask them to come in, meet with us, and we'll take them through the process. But change is, if you don't get the change management right, you don't get adoption. So I always look at incentives. When we introduced Tech One, I sat there with the director of infrastructure, and we're great mates. We go to the footy together, we go to concerts together, but we argue. I said we had to renew our two-way radio system, and I said to Mark, Mark, why not let's get rid of it? It's $300,000. Why don't we just give all your infrastructure people a mobile phone? That means they can actually do all of their tasks in one system on their mobile phone or on their desktop in the office. And I said, if you give them the ability to actually use them phones for private use as well as the work use, they'll actually start using them. And it's incredible how many of our infrastructure people that never had a mobile phone, how they look after it, how they utilise it to do their timesheets, their annual leave, all them things they all do on these mobile devices. But they've given a very good one. They're not given a cheap phone. They're $1,500 phones, but giving them that just gave them buy-in to whatever else we were doing. So as soon as you give someone something, they're a bit more inclined to join in. And to be honest, Mark's concern was, you'll be replacing them every week. Someone's going to break them. I've had more breakages from my executive leadership team than the other team. So it's quite strange, and that's Reggie Didge. I mean, my director at the time, who's now moved on and gone to another higher role, his phone went through him twice in 2 weeks. So but and that they're actually developed. They're learning. They learn the technology now and the phone. So when their kids come up, they can actually talk similar language, not totally, but so I always look at what incentives, what can you put in place that will actually help you in your change management project. But cover that one.
I don't know if there's...
That's 2:15 to be old.
We're just about there. Any more questions? Any last question from the floor and on the screen? No more. Well, Jeff, thank you. Maybe with your final comment is you're South Perth. How many of the councils are operating at your level in terms of where you're heading and considering AI and that sort of thing?
I think they're all considering AI to a degree, but probably most of them are looking at, they're battling with ChatGPT and Copilot at that level at the moment. And rightly they should be, because we're going to put policies in place to protect our data and our information and make sure we don't get attacked. I think as a user group, the IT managers are starting to talk more about the next level, but I'm not sure if anyone, there's probably 3 or 4 councils that are probably looking at a pilot of something.
So you're ahead of the curve. Ladies and gentlemen, please thank Jeff Jones and his brilliant offsider as well. Thank you. We dragged you in.